I know that voice. In the opulent Lumen restaurant in San Francisco, Elena Voss, a ordinary waitress, froze upon hearing the man's voice at the VIP table. That voice was deep, arrogant, and chillingly familiar. 3 years ago, he, Damian Drake, CEO of the tech conglomerate Drake Capital, had stolen the AI project she herself had created, then pinned all the blame on her. In just one night, she lost her job, her reputation, and vanished from the industry. Now, he sat right in front of her, laughing heartily with Japanese investors, boasting about something called Project Echo. That project name was the very proof that had destroyed her life. Elena gripped her tray tightly, her heart pounding. She thought she was just serving dinner, but perhaps this was her chance to serve justice. Could an ordinary woman bring down an entire financial empire with nothing but a voice? The clink of spoons against glasses rose steadily, like the rhythm of a refined melody. The scent of fine wine and expensive cologne mingled in the air, blending with the laughter of men in dark suits. Outside, San Francisco across the bay glowed like a circuit board, its lights reflecting off the restaurant's glass walls at Lumen, where every detail was designed to make one feel small before perfection. Elena Voss moved lightly between the tables, the silver tray in her hand reflecting her face in faint, fragmented shards. She knew how to walk without making a sound, how to pour wine without a single drop spilling over the rim of the glass. In Lumen's world, silence was a skill. For her, it was also a sanctuary. When she left the investment firm 3 years ago, she lost almost everything: her career, her honor, and her faith that justice existed in the numbers. She had once been a sought-after data analyst, someone who could spot market trends from thousands of raw data points. But a single altered report, a mistake she hadn't made, had turned her into the scapegoat. She left that world behind, left the spotlight, to live in a place where no one remembered her name anymore. And then tonight, amid the jazz music and the clink of glasses, she heard it, that voice. Deep, arrogant, carrying the cadence of someone accustomed to giving orders. Elena didn't need to look to know who had just spoken. Her body recognized it before her mind did. Every cell seemed to freeze in that instant. Damian Drake, the man who had once called her a data genius, the man who had used the very algorithm she wrote to manipulate stock prices, then blamed her when it all came crashing down. She turned her head slightly, just enough to catch sight of him through the bar's reflective glass. Damian looked exactly the same as 3 years ago: gray suit, neatly combed hair, the confident smile of someone who believed himself untouchable. He sat at the corner table, with 2 Japanese men and a silver-haired woman, perhaps an investment advisor. On the table, a bottle of red wine shimmered under the lights, numbers mentioned in his steady baritone like a ritual of money. She didn't want to listen, but her ears strained anyway. He was talking about a new project, a secret AI platform called Project Echo. Those 2 words pierced her like a needle. Echo. She had heard that name before. It was the internal code name for the project she had developed, a deep learning system capable of recreating market behavior models. It had once been her pride and joy, until it was stolen and turned into a tool for manipulating stock prices in Europe. She thought it had been buried along with her reputation, but no. It had become Damian's flagship project. She stood frozen. No one noticed the shift in her eyes. Outside, the sound of cars crossing the Golden Gate Bridge hummed like waves of metal. Inside, she felt the entire room slow down, every sound, every breath, rippling like the living numbers she used to read every day. His voice rose again, lower, laced with implication. She heard him mention Phase 2, about user ethics prediction models. Each word dropped like fragments of buried memories surfacing. Elena gripped her tray tighter. Sweat beaded in her palms, but her face remained composed. She placed glasses on a nearby table, bowed slightly to the guests, then retreated behind the bar, where the light was dimmer. She needed to confirm she wasn't going mad. She pulled out her phone, opened the old app she had written, an experimental voice recognition software called Echelon. As she aimed the microphone toward Damian's table, the sound waves appeared on the screen as green oscillating lines. A line of text flashed in the corner. Echo, Pedvo Archive, WAV, pattern recognized. She froze. The system had identified the voice. Same frequency, same data structure, same person. That meant one thing. The old recording, the evidence she thought had been deleted, still existed somewhere. A heartbeat slammed in her chest. She looked up, peering at him through the glass counter. Damian Drake was still laughing, raising his glass, the light reflecting in his eyes like cold metal. Elena knew this was no longer just a night of serving the wealthy. This was the night she returned. No longer the coffee pourer, no longer the silent one. She just needed one piece of evidence and a chance to make him hear his own voice again. Outside, wind from the bay whispered against the glass, vibrating faintly like the first note of a new symphony, the symphony of truth. All right, dear audience of mine, if you're watching and finding this story intriguing, comment the number 1 or I'm still here to keep listening, okay? As the service door clicked shut behind her, Elena paused in the narrow hallway leading to the wine storage. The restaurant's din faded, leaving only the steady hum of the air conditioning fan. White light reflected off the cold tiled walls, forming sharp squares like a data grid. She leaned against the wall, her hand still clutching the phone. The screen glowed green, the echo, P2, archive text blinking like a heartbeat. Elena took a deep breath. It could all be coincidence, or fate. But the feeling inside her was ruthlessly clear, the feeling of someone who had written every line of code and knew no one could replicate its rhythm. No one, except the very thief who stole it. For 3 years, she had tried to forget, tried to believe what happened was just an unlucky chain of mistakes. She left Berlin, left the gleaming offices and flashing trading screens, for San Francisco to start over, hiding among coffee cups and unfamiliar faces. But data, like memory, never dies. It just changes form, disguises itself in places where humans overlook it. She reopened the Echelon app, her fingers trembling slightly. The program displayed the waveform of Damian's recent speech. The sound waves appeared on the screen like a DNA strand, perfectly obsessive. She zoomed in, cross-referencing it with the sample file saved on her old hard drive, the recording excerpted from an internal conference 3 years ago, where Damian had read her report aloud to present on the Echo model. Back then, she thought he just wanted to promote the tech. Now she knew he had used that very presentation to cover for the manipulation scheme. The frequencies matched perfectly. Every pause, every filler sound, even the short breath intake before saying, Phase 2 all identical. No doubt anymore. He still had the original. Elena stared at the screen, a mix of dizziness and clarity rising within her. That recording had been presumed deleted from the system when the company closed the investigation. She had requested a backup but was denied access. At the time, all evidence vanished with her account. But if the file lived on in his voice, it meant he had never deleted it. He needed it, perhaps to threaten, perhaps to protect himself. A thought flashed. If he still has the original, I can find it. But how? She closed the app, stepped into the hallway. A thin beam of light sliced through the door crack, falling on her hand. The night outside was like a massive circuit board, buildings blinking like binary code. She used to love this, the precision, the logic, the beauty of order. Now it had become the weapon she had to wield to reclaim justice. She returned to the bar, face composed, eyes scanning the rows of guests. Damian was still there, leaning toward the Japanese man, his voice dropping low, just audible as she passed. Of course, Phase 2 can't leak out. The original data is safe in the private vault. No one knows about it. Private vault. The words hit her like a lead weight. She knew he was telling the truth. He didn't know that right in front of him was the person who had designed that very storage system. As the evening ended, Elena cleared glasses in the dim golden light of the bar. She didn't look at him, but she felt Damian's gaze flick over her, lazy and meaningless like glancing at an anonymous server. Inside her, a chill rose. He didn't even remember her. The man who stole her career and honor didn't bother recognizing the face that had sat across from him for months. It didn't hurt her. On the contrary, it gave her an advantage. Invisibility, the best armor. Back in her small Mission District apartment, Elena flicked on the light, slipped off her uniform, and hung it over a chair. The cramped space held only an old laptop and a few notebooks. She powered it up, plugged in the portable hard drive, and reloaded Echelon. Lines of code scrolled across the screen, green and shimmering like data rain. In one corner of the command window, a notification appeared. Pattern link found. Possible archive access path. DRC private divided by archive. 5. Her heart clenched. DRC short for Drake Capital. The system had traced Damien's voice waves, detecting a link to his private data vault. She sat motionless, staring at the blinking screen. Part of her wanted to shut it down, pretend she never knew. But the other part, the data analyst, who once trusted logic over chance, knew this was her only shot. Outside, wind from the bay slipped through the window, carrying distant ship horns. Under the dim light, Elena typed the first command to open a secure connection. Each character appeared on the screen like an accelerating heartbeat. Data, like truth, could be buried, but never truly erased. Tonight, Elena decided she would be the one to unearth it. The laptop screen cast a pale green glow on Elena's face. Lines of commands scrolled down like rain streaking a window, reflecting in her unblinking, focused eyes. Drake Capital's security network wasn't something she didn't know. She had written its original foundation as a systems analyst. Back then, she had been proud of how nearly impenetrable it was. Now she was the one cracking it open. Her fingers paused as a strange window appeared. Authorization node, DRC RK1. Before she could analyze it, her phone buzzed. A notification flashed. Unknown sender. Do not panic. I'm not your enemy. She frowned, eyeing the string of characters below. Rook. That name sparked like a piece in an old game. Rook the castle in chess moved straight, fast, and ruthlessly. Not a random alias. Another message appeared. No number attached. Just a code string. Don't try the main data vault route. The system has feedback traps. I saw you activate Echelon. If you're really Elena Voss, we're after the same thing. Echo. Elena read the line over and over. Her pulse tightened. This person not only knew her name but Echelon. The software never publicly released. Part of her wanted to delete the message, dismiss it as an imposter's prank. But the instincts of someone who lived in the data world told her this prank knew too much to be random. She typed a short line. Who are you? No immediate reply. Just a long silence. Wind whistling through the door cracked like the city's breath. Then the screen lit up again. Someone Damien tried to erase from the system, like you. I was a security engineer at DRC. Now they think I'm dead. A chill ran down her spine. Elena glanced out the window. Below, car lights streaked in white trails. Everything seemed normal, but she knew something was moving in the shadows, aligned with her. I know where he hides the data, the next message read. Backup vault in the old DRC building in Soma. That system's offline, but it holds a copy of Project Echo. If you want it back, get there before he moves it. But don't go alone. Elena let out a soft laugh, not joyful. Don't go alone? She had lived in isolation for 3 years. This man, whoever he was, spoke as if he understood her. But the only thing she trusted now was data. And the data said if he knew the vault's location, he might be right. She opened a map, searched the old DRC building in Soma, near the bay. It was an abandoned office block, now just a basement parking lot and rows of storage for outdated gear. The night was late, the city outside still lit like day, but inside her, the darkness was thicker than ever. She typed one last line. Why help me? The reply came slow, as if the sender hesitated. Because he killed my father. He was an engineer on the Echo team. When it blew up, they called it a work accident. I've been hunting evidence for 2 years. But only you know the original algorithm structure. Only you can unlock it. Elena stared at the words. For a moment, the world around her seemed to still. The distant city sounds warped, stretching out. Part of her wanted to believe, part feared. But Echo kept flashing on the screen, repeating like a call. She closed her eyes, letting the old feeling flood back. 3 years ago, when fired, she thought every door had slammed shut. Now, in the dead of night, someone told her there was still a crack, someone else scarred by the same monster. She opened the laptop, saved all the messages, encrypting them with her private algorithm. Every trace logged like an old habit. Before shutting down, she eyed Rook's final line. I'll contact you when the safe window opens. When you hear the signal 3 buzzes, don't reply in words. Just type one character, Sigma. The summation symbol Sigma, her old signature as a data expert. He knew. He was speaking her language. Elena powered off, stood up. The room was so quiet she heard the clock ticking seconds. Wind from the window tousled her hair, carrying the bay's damp scent. Inside her, fear and curiosity merged, like data layers overlapping to form a new image. Outside, San Francisco never slept. That night, a rook began to move, silent but certain, and Elena knew the game had begun. Dear audience, take a moment to hit subscribe to the channel before diving into the main story, but only if you truly empathize with what I'm sharing here, and leave a comment below letting me know where you're watching from and what time it is now. It's fascinating to see everyone from all over joining us. The morning passed like a thin fog blanketing the bay. Elena slept fitfully for a few hours, then woke as the first sunlight glanced off her window pane. She sat still for a long while, listening to the city stir. Car horns, footsteps of pedestrians, the sounds of ordinary life she never quite felt part of. Rook's messages lingered quietly on her phone, short lines like shadows left from a dream. She didn't reply, didn't dig further. The info on Drake Capital's old data vault was enough to scramble her mind. But another part of her couldn't rest. The part that hadn't forgotten Damian Drake's gaze last night, the casual look treating her like decor in a power room. That evening, Lumen glowed again. The lavish space shimmered like a glass theater, everything operating in seamless rhythm like a machine that never missed a beat. Elena donned her black uniform, tied her hair neatly, and returned to her familiar spot behind the bar. Every movement was choreographed as if nothing had changed, but deep inside, each step carried vigilance. Around 8, Damian arrived. He was punctual, always. Dark suit, silver tie, gold watch glinting under the lights. He came with 2 others, a Japanese investor named Takeda and a financial advisor from Los Angeles. The 3 passed through the glass doors, lights reflecting off their faces like a slow-motion film scene. Elena's heart tightened, but her hands stayed steady on the tray of glasses. She saw him take the same table as last night, the corner overlooking the whole city. She heard every sound in the room clearly. Cutlery clinks, soft jazz, and that familiar baritone voice. Damian ordered a special espresso, strong but not bitter. The words made Elena's lips twitch faintly. He still demanded everything in the tone of someone accustomed to being served. She prepared the coffee with the focus of someone etching the enemy's details. Grind pressure, water volume, extraction time. Each step, a precise measure, no deviation. As she approached the table, he was laughing with his partners, the smug smile of someone believing everything under control. Elena set the cup down lightly, like a breath. The coffee's warm, rich aroma spread, masking the expensive wine on the table. Damian looked up, his eyes meeting hers for a second. A flicker of surprise, then indifference. "Thank you," he said, voice clipped, almost lazy. She nodded, replying in a light, neutral tone. "My pleasure, sir." No one around noticed the subtle tension, but Elena felt the air contract between them. In the soft golden light, Damian's face looked serene, but she saw something behind the smile, a faint weariness, only someone who once knew him could spot. Power, even absolute, always exacted its price. As she turned away, she heard him murmur to Takeda, voice low and secretive. "Phase 2 launches next quarter. We'll test in Tokyo first, then bring it here. Everything's on plan." Phase 2. The words sent ice down her spine again. Elena returned to the bar, but her eyes tracked the VIP table through the decorative mirror. She saw Damian pull out his phone, open a file, then lean toward Takeda to show it off. Blue light from the screen reflected on his face, making it momentarily alien like a soul swallowed by data. A thought sparked in her. If he's accessing Project Echo, the sound waves from that device could be captured by the restaurant's audio system. Lumen had a central control setup, and she knew how to access it. No one remembered she was once a tech expert. To them, she was just the barista. But the system remembered its root password was a code snippet she had set during the audio testing phase. Elena quietly bent down, opening the control panel behind the bar. Under the cold steel, signal buttons blinked. She typed the access code, each key like a heartbeat in her ears. A window opened on the screen. Audio link enabled. She heard nothing, but knew Damian's table audio was now recording every frequency, every vocal cadence. When she straightened, she caught his eyes again. Despite the distance, she sensed he felt something off. A brief silence passed. Then he laughed, raised his glass, as if everything remained perfect. Elena turned away, fists clenched. Beneath Lumen's golden lights, amid the sophisticated sounds and scents, an invisible war had begun. No gunfire, just the faint hum of the recording system, and the steady breath of the woman waiting for her first strike. After her shift, Elena left Lumen as the clock neared midnight. Cold wind from San Francisco Bay whipped through her thin jacket, carrying salt and metal tang. The city below blazed, but to her, the lights felt distant. Each step on the cobblestone path was a thought beat, each gust reminding her of Damien's cold words. Phase 2 launches next quarter. She knew Phase 2 wasn't just an expansion. It was a new facade for Project Echo, a user ethics prediction system, a financial weapon that could manipulate entire economies if in the wrong hands. And he, Damien Drake, was that wrong hand. Back home, Elena fired up the laptop, plugged in the backup drive. The Lumen audio feed had routed to her preset anonymous server. A new folder appeared, time-stamped encrypted recordings. The first labeled DRC, Take It A, Session 1. She played it through headphones, spoon clinks against glasses, distant background music, then Damien's deep voice. She fast-forwarded, zeroing in on high oscillation segments. Amid laughter bursts, a pause. Then he spoke, low and firm. The old data vault is secure. No one has access but me. Echo Phase 2 activates once the Echelon algorithm is reinstated. Elena paused. Her heart skipped a beat. He had just mentioned Echelon, her software, the tool she wrote at DRC, now key to Phase 2. She removed the headphones, sat up straight. This wasn't just evidence. It was a confession. She opened a text file, noting timestamps, wave segments, as if analyzing a secret language. Each green waveform a path back to the past. Data, no matter how twisted, retained the speaker's heartbeat. She had said that in an internal lecture once. Now, she lived its proof. Eyes weary from screen glare, she rose, stepped onto the balcony. The city below sparkled like a data map. Each building a node, each light a data packet. From far enough, it was all just connected points of light, like her past seeming disjointed, but truly linked in fragments. Her phone buzzed softly. A message from Rook. Got anything yet? Elena eyed the green text, pondered, then replied. A recording. He mentioned Echelon in Phase 2. Seconds later, the response. Good. He's tying his own noose. But you need more. Proof of the data path. Might be in the backup I mentioned. They'll move it in 72 hours. She leaned on the railing, wind pricking her skin like 1,000 needles. Everything moved too fast. Just days ago, she was the nameless server. Now, she stood in a game where each step could cost everything, or reclaim it all. In her mind, Rook's father's image surfaced: an unnamed engineer, work accident. No one investigated. How many others vanished like that? How many names erased from systems for touching truth? She felt the weight of what she held, a recording, but laced with a web of crime and power. Elena returned to her desk. She replayed the audio, slowing it. Near the end, amid cutlery and jazz, another sound: Damien's phone vibrating. A cold robotic voice emerged. Private server backup complete. Archive relocated. She froze, looked up, heart racing. He had just finished backing up the data. But where? Rook's final message lit up like an answer. Soma building, old DRC basement. 3 nights from now, he'll check it. Elena glanced at the clock. 3 nights. Time to prepare or lose it all. She shut down, the green screen light snapping off. In the dark, she heard distant bay waves crashing, metal clanging like a countdown clock. On the table, the phone glowed with one last alert. I'll be there. Don't trust the cameras. They see before you think. Elena nodded faintly, unseen. Part of her past had just awakened, and she knew if she pressed on, no turning back. But silence had lasted long enough. She would break it. 3 days dragged slow, as if time itself feared what approached. Elena barely left the apartment. Green screen light reflected on her face through nights, hollowing her eyes with sleepless shadows. She and Rook communicated via anonymous data packets, swapping codes, command strings, security maps, all multi-layer encrypted, like a game for those who trusted no one. Each time the screen lit with Sigma, she felt something almost comforting. Not trust, but the sense of another stepping through the dark with her. Drake Capital's data vault lay in the old Soma building, once a subsidiary research hub, now registered under a shell company. No signage, no constant guards, just automated internal surveillance. But what made it nearly impenetrable was the voice security layer tech Elena herself created. Voice lock, an algorithm recognizing voice by biometric rhythm, not just frequency, but breath cadence, vibrations, and subtle laryngeal reflexes. She once called it a living signature. When the project was stolen, Damien installed voice lock as the outermost vault lock, and now, to crack it, she had to bypass her own creation. On the third night, rain fell in a fine mist. Water pattered on pavement, creating hazy reflections like decompressing code. Elena wore a black coat, hood up, slipping into the alley behind the old DRC building. Rust and machine oil scented the air. The gray steel door stood silent, a small red light on the sensor panel signaling the system lived. She attached a low-frequency audio device to the wall. Crack the tool Rook sent from an unknown source. The small screen lit, displaying oscillating signal chains. Damien's voice from the Lumen recording extracted as raw waveform. Now, she needed to synthesize it to fool voice lock. Her hands shook slightly as she activated the simulation program. Damien's words recreated in synthetic sound, smooth and cold. Access granted. The mini speaker's output sounded nearly real, but voice lock didn't just hear. It felt the speaker's vibrations. Elena adjusted wave amplitude, ramping vibrations near match. She knew the algorithm craved imperfection, a tiny deviation to convince it of humanity, not machine. She designed that principle for data protection. Now, she weaponized it to break through. 1 beat, 2. Rain mixed with machine whir. Then the sensor's red light shifted to yellow. Voice pattern match, 97.4%. She inhaled deeply. Just a bit more. She loosened the vibration, added a simulated breath pause between words. Voice pattern match, 99.6%. Green light. The door eased open slowly, heavy metal groaning like an old soul exhaling. Inside, the hallway stretched dark and long, cold ozone scent flooding out. She stepped lightly, each footfall echoing hollowly. Server racks lined up, the blue status lights blinking, casting ethereal glow like a forest of metal fireflies. At the hall's end, the central console, Project Echo's storage. Elena set the decryption device on the console, connected it. The screen showed Archive, Echo, Master divided by last modified, 0314. The day she was fired. Memories flooded like a torrent. Damien's voice in her head, accusatory emails, colleagues' averted eyes, all to shield him. She opened the file, hundreds of code lines unfolding the algorithm structure she wrote, but altered. She spotted the core, ethics filter, her development to prevent human manipulation models. In this version, it was gone. Echo now a prediction machine without conscience. She trembled. Mid-backup, the screen flickered dark for a beat. A alert. Remote access detected. She scanned around. Silence held. Only server fans whirring. Then a chat window popped. I warned you. They're watching everything. Get out now. Signed, Rook. Her heart pounded. She yanked the drive from the machine, pocketed it. Hallway lights shifted red, soft alarms keening. She ran, her shadow streaking past racks like darkness in a sea of light. Behind, the steel door began closing. She squeezed through the narrowing gap, arms scraping icy metal. Outside, rain persisted, sirens blending with wind. Elena hunched, gasping, hand tight on the small drive. Under dim streetlight, water dripped from her hood to the ground, merging with runoff. She knew in minutes, Damien would know someone breached his vault. But it didn't matter anymore. She held the voice code proof he stripped ethics from the algorithm, and proof she still lived. Are you still here, dear audience? Take a break, relax maybe with a glass of water, then tune back in for the exciting content. Comment 1 if you find this story intriguing. Don't forget to hit subscribe to the channel. The next morning, the city hummed, as if last night never happened. Streets bustled, coffee shops opened, people chattered stocks and deals. Only in the top floor of the glass tower named Drake Capital did the air thicken to suffocation. Damien sat behind a long black glass desk, the window behind him framing the blazing San Francisco Bay vista. Light played on his face, turning half to a cold silver mask. The screen before him scrolled red alerts. Internal security breached at 217. Partial data exfiltrated. Access trace from a device with early project privileges. Name displayed. L. Voss. Ver. His fingers halted mid-keystroke. That name like an unhealed scar. Cold but stinging. He didn't believe in coincidence. Memories compressed and burst. The young woman in Berlin meetings, sharp eyes defending ethics in the model. Then the internal probe, the leak, the collapse, and his pen signing her termination. Elena Voss. Impossible, Damien murmured, almost to himself. But systems didn't lie. The intruder used voice lock his security and bypassed at 99.6% match. No one could do that but someone grasping its core structure. Her. He rose, paced to the window. The city below looked tiny, compliant, like a model in his palm. But for the first time, he felt it shifting, not orbiting him anymore. He pressed the internal comm button. Lock all peripheral access. Call the tech audit team. And get me the archived file on Elena Voss. Everything. While waiting, he eyed his hand, normally steady. But this morning, unease crept in, like a thin blade dangling by a thread over his head. Across the city, Elena sat in her small apartment, sleepless still. She eyed the tiny drive on the table like a pulsing organism. Echo, original, Elvos. Ver, glowed faintly. Beside it, the phone buzzed Rook's signal. He knows. System flagged access. You have to leave now. She gazed out the window. Rain stopped, sky steel gray. No, she whispered, barely breath. If he knows, he'll come for me. And when he does, he'll expose himself. Elena booted the laptop, opened the raw audio. Damien's voice rang clear, cold, arrogant, his segment on stripping the ethics filter. She spliced it with the original data copy. Side by side, waveforms aligned near-perfect, irrefutable proof he tampered the model for manipulation. She saved the final composite, re-encrypted, uploaded to a temporary server with note. If I disappear, release. On floor 47 of Drake Capital, Damien received the first report. An old Soma camera caught the intruder. Blurry image, just a woman's silhouette, familiar gait. He zoomed, sharpened. Under patchy yellow light, dark hair and rain-wet hood sharpened. No close look needed. He knew. A slow smile curved his lips, not relief, but a predator spotting old prey trail. Good, he said, voice low but icy. So you're still alive. That afternoon, private investigators hired under cybersecurity guys. No uniforms, no traces, just checkpoints, restaurants, cafes, mission crash pads. Elena Voss's name resurfaced in the city's data web. But Elena anticipated. She moved before their shadows fell, wiping digital footprints, leaving only a Sigma glyph in a Drake system junk file like a challenge. Evening, as Damien returned to his office, the screen blinked. There it was. Simple symbol, but he recognized it instantly. Sigma Elena's mark, from debates where she matched him blow for blow. He sank into his chair, smile vanishing. City lights cast his face in halves, one lit, one shadowed. "Wanna play again?" he whispered. Then we play. Outside, rain fell anew. In the lit city, two gazed at each other through data webs, one wielding power, one truth. And between them, the game reversed. On the fourth night post-breach, San Francisco's sky hung thick with mist. The whole city seemed to hold its breath. Elena sat in her small apartment, soul light the laptop screen washing her face cold, still, fear gone. On screen, DrakeNet's internal security interface, re-breached via old ID, revived from Damien's voice file. She knew he hunted her, and she chose to let him find. Not to flee, but to lure him into the trap she built. Rook vanished from comms since dawn. No Sigma replies. She didn't know if he lived, only that this game was hers alone now. What she did wasn't simple revenge. It was the only way to end the power, spiral stealing careers from too many like her creators erased from history. She opened Echo. Original. Elvos. Air. Copy. fused it to a reverse monitoring protocol. Damien's system tracked suspicious acts, but none foresaw it forced to gaze inward. By nesting this file in routine audit streams, she made DrakeNet log its master's actions every Damien login, illicit access, data wipe command. Screen filled with auto-replicating code, spreading like a living neural net. Data trap, she thought. No guns, no blades, just a mistimed order. And his system became witness against him. Clock read 1:42 a.m. In Drake Capital, Damien lingered in his office. His light, the lone glow in the dark glass sea. Large screens swarmed alerts. System files auto-backupped, mirroring user activity. He frowned, keyed commands. No response. Lock it down, he muttered, impatience creeping. But the system ignored. Replication protocol active blinked relentlessly. Tiny Sigma in the corner. He froze, as if eyes peered through the display. Elena monitored remotely. His internal cams fed her screen, seconds delayed. Damien's face, clear eyes strained, jaw clenched. In that instant, she saw not Destroyer, but a man betrayed by his own creation. She knew that feeling had lived it. He grabbed his phone, called Tech Team. Lines severed. Each try locked the system tighter. Backups routed to hidden addresses, each holding original data chunks and user logs, a matrix only the algorithm's writer decoded. And that was Elena. Sweat beaded her temple, but eyes blazed. Each code line a heartbeat, fast, steady, precise. Minutes away, DrakeNet would finish replication. Auto-forward files to 3 international finance news outlets, same anonymous repos Rook used. Then Damien couldn't scrub or block. Exposed. She checked the clock. 1:58. On screen, Damien yanked network cables from the core. Alert flashed. Physical override disabled. Then his room lights snapped off. Only laptop glow lit his face, pale, feral, briefly desperate. Elena whispered, almost to herself, "This is silence's price." Lightning cracked outside, thunder striking the bay, white lights slashing the city. In that flash, Damien's system executed final command, upload complete. 3 data packets dispatched simultaneously. She leaned back, body light as shed burden after 3 years. But peace lasted one breath. Alert popped. External trace detected. Source Rook. She bolted upright. Rook? He was there. But why in the final access log? Screen flickered again. Text crawled slow, disjointed, like direct typed. "I'm sorry. I had to give your location. They got me." Her heart seized. The Sigma glyph turned red, dissolved. Outside, distant sirens wailed. Somewhere in the city, a hunt launched. Elena knew the trap snapped, not just Damien's. Now she was in another. The city hadn't yet dawned. San Francisco streets at first light draped in fog like smoke. Elena hurried through wet alleys, gas, early coffee, and fear's metallic tang blending in the air. No luggage, just the drive in her coat pocket and powered-off phone. Each step stamped heavy on pavement, echoing what transpired. Behind, the city stirred. Nameless shadows, unmarked cars, invisible telecom signals all converging on her. Elena knew Damien ordered it. Her data trap crashed his system, but made her top target. He wouldn't let her vanish again. She halted under a bridge overpass, breath ragged in chill mist. Under fractured yellow lights, murky water flowed below like the city's vein. Elena unpacked the small laptop hidden in her coat. Screen ignited, mirroring her pale face, shadowed eyes resolute. She accessed an anonymous net, a data layer only ex-German banking insiders knew. There, packets floated like shipwrecks in info seas. She uploaded Echo's final code snippet, location stripped. Each packet recursion encrypted attempted opens doubled and dispersed to 3 others. Her last defense, data ghosting. Screen blanked a new window, then corner text. "I'm sorry, Elena. Rook." She eyed the quiet line like a razor cut. Betrayal hadn't hit, pity seeped first. She understood people betrayed at limits. Damien's system always cornered them. She dismissed the notice, keyed on. Echo's full arc from original to unethical tweaks packaged in one file. Public ID tagged. No more hiding. Now her name was proof. Elena Voss, author of Echo Ethics Protocol. Bay wind gusted, carrying ship horns and wave slaps. City woke, but she felt drifting from it bit by bit. Old life, old apartment, old name all soon erased. She closed the laptop, merged into emerging street crowds. Sun rose, light-piercing fog in golden shafts amid glass towers. She passed her old cafe job, a flower shop still open soon signed. No one eyed her. No one recognized the woman as epicenter of an impending finance quake. Miles away in an office, Damien stood before a signal map screen, eyes glued. Tracking showed dozens fake access points, all Elena's ID. Lock one location, 3 spawned anew. She dissolved into the data itself. She's not out there anymore, a tech stammered. Damien stared, voice rasped metallic. No, she's there. Where there's data, there's her. Elena turned into the subway. Train wheels, ground rails echoing. She stood amid commuters, face calm, eyes down, hand clutching the pocketed drive. Train halted. She boarded, leaving station steam dissolving in light. Doors shut, her reflection in glass frame. That woman gazed back, quiet and altered like become of invisibles. Trains surged, lights whipping fast, code line rhythms. Elena closed eyes, smiled silently. She knew she no longer belonged to the old world. Above ground, Damien eyed the screen. Final time. Tracking froze. One last line amid black. You taught me to hide in the code. Dear audience, take a moment to hit subscribe to the channel before diving into the main story, but only if you truly empathize with what I'm sharing here. And leave a comment below letting me know where you're watching from and what time it is now. It's fascinating to see everyone from all over joining us. The city lit like a colossal circuit as night retreated. Streets, signals, digital billboards linked by invisible wires, a sleepless data system, and somewhere in that current, Elena reborn. No longer flesh, but signal chains, code lines traversing global nets. She severed all IDs, melting into data layers, slipping firewalls and algorithms like breath through stone cracks. In this realm, no need to hide. She was the space her hunters sought. From First Nexus, she triggered Echo's feedback layer. Original project data segments now paved paths. Through them, she saw all secret reports, internal emails, Drake Capital links to Zurich, Singapore, Dubai subs, each data line a vein. She read the Empire's pulse. An empire seeming invincible. But now each info packet quivered like slack strings. She didn't destroy, not yet. Just touched, feather light, letting algorithms finish. Alter one pricing system digit. Micro trades rippled thousands. Reverse one auth chain. Hundreds contracts retimed. Each tiny shift lone, meaningless. Cumulatively, seismic. In central ops, Damien sensed anomaly. Figures mismatched. Backups incongruent. Backup orders errored. Checksum mismatch. Whole system wobbled like foundation gouged tower. He ordered emergency audits, but fixes spawned more faults. Something or someone lived in his net. In data underbelly, Elena tracked him. She recognized his taught command shapes, signature syntaxes Damien's private tongue. She shadowed like form to figure, never caught. Between them now borderless battlefield, no bullets, just memory and patience. Deeper into core, black files storage, shady deals, shell funds, amid millions code lines, Hera program trace. A global market data manipulator, Damien built covert post-echo theft. He twisted her work to soulless profit machine. Elena stared at Hera's structure. In that beat, she grasped at his heart. No need ruin Damien, make this machine see itself. She penned short code, few lines, seeded it in like a germ. Hera self-mirrored behaviors in its database. Reflex loop. Initially, few mismatches logged. 10 minutes, logic errors spread. Damien's smart machine doubted its master's orders. Floor 47. Damien faced white-hot screen. Data scrambled, charts crashed, auto-responses looped reverse. Stop, he roared, but unchecked. Hera disabled his own access. Door he built, world control, now barred him out. Elena in net shadows watched data self-destruct like silent fireworks. No sound, just light electronic storm in digital night. She neither laughed nor wept. Not victory, just final balance. She left core note in Hera, first Damien if accessing would see. No one controls truth's voice. It's just temporarily muted. She erased last traces. data body dissolving into global info flow. Outside, city blazed, but somewhere in running systems, new code pulse beat steady, like awakened heart. Morning dawned ordinary, but finance world altered. Sun crested San Francisco Bay, golden light spearing glass towers, mirroring thousands red plunging charts on trader screens. Each graph downward slash, each figure reputation gash for Drake Capital. From floor 47, Damien gazed chaos-coiled city. Below, crowds flowed, cars streamed, cafes opened, world ticked, his shattered piecemeal. All night he wrestled Hera control, unresponsive now. Servers echoed one. Access revoked, source undefined. Former genius callers turned, icy glances daggers. Board emergency summon, press flooded, Drake Capital loses internal data grip. None knew what. Only he did. Invisible hands strangled empire veins. Subsidiary servers auto-decrypted, buried files, shady finances, illicit trades, black funds, bribes, all dark web secrets. Each packet self-copied, dispatched dozens global newsrooms. No bang, just cold screen light exposing sins. Damien paced halls slow, past packing staff. They shunned his gaze like lost soul. Hall end. Drake Capital logo sharp D on silver now mere mirror to his haggard face. He believed logic, algorithms, data power ruled world. Now numbers rebelled. Each byte accusation, each code line arrogance trace. Phone rang endless. SEC, probes, lawyers, shareholders all one query. Who did this? Damien silent. Answer unbelievable. System ghost, forgotten woman. He sank chair, fogged window gaze. Outer city blazed, indifferent to his tragedy. In light, Elena's face reflected not real. Memory. Cold smile, still eyes, presentation voice in old meeting room. That voice echoed head unstoppable now. Large screen news ticker. Anchor on largest private finance leak history. Damien investor photos interspersed damage figures. Screen corner, 3 chars blinked. Sigma EV. None grasped. He alone knew. Outside, Golden Gate wind whipped, cold sharp. From height, he saw birds slice hazy sky. All built money, fame, sway now smoke. Amid smoke, simple truth. Lost not to stronger, but disbelieving truth's fight. Shareholders exited meeting wordless. Final door shut his back. Room held Damien and blank black screen. Hand to keys, he typed name into login. No reply. Sudden screen glow. Single line black void. You built a god without a soul. He chuckled, hoarse, hollow. Fitting end for liar teaching machine, truth never learned man. He rose, balcony step. West sky, late afternoon silver gray. Wind swirled, distant city sounds carried. Somewhere, gust, he fancied her voice thin, cold, radio faint old signal. Justice has a frequency, you just have to tune in. Eyes shut, world spun, nothing to hold. Bayside morning calm as breath. Far fog clung towers like hiding city wounds post-data storm. World ran, but silence shifted something. Digital papers dropped Damien Drake. He vanished with global finance, dominating empire. Elena window sat small cafe, hands wrapped cooling latte. Hair neat ponytail, face serene strangely. No net ghost, no memory-haunted woman. She lived simple, nameless and that, to her, miracle. Old laptop, chat window pinged. Short message anonymous address. Hera self-restructured, part your algorithm lives. New name, Prometheus. Elena screen stared. Heart fluttered, not fear, realizing larger than self. Couldn't fully erase creations. Tech didn't vanish, evolved, but now, she could steer. Lid closed, cafe left. Outside, city less stark. Tiny folk bustled, phones gripped, green glows faces. Each person data part, each life beat info line. Elena wove them, sensing clearer ever. World needed no control god but truth guardian. Months later, old Hudson River building rehabbed, small office hummed quiet. Faded glass sign. The Prometheus Institute, ethics and digital accountability. Inside, folk round work table, no suits, no ties. Each tech wound victim, framed data analyst, ousted coder, Threatened reporter, truth exposing. They called Elena the architect, faith rebuilder. She spoke little. Instead taught data gaze like people gaze spot behavior. Scars. They worked silent, hunting info manipulations, fake nets, unmasking dehumanizing algorithms. None knew them. Traces left, anonymous reports, timely probes world needed voiced. Late night, others gone. Elena solo in screen-lit room. New file opened. 3 letters. Sigma EV. Hand to keys. Deleted glyph. No need anymore. Outer light window streaked. Glass reflected her not ghost, not warrior. Reborn. From data ashes, reclaimed own humanity. She recalled Professor Brandt's old words. Justice isn't punishment. It's balance restored. First time, Elena fully grasped. Light breeze, curtain rustled. She rose, balcony stepped. City lit, car veins endless flow. Amid lights, softer warmer glow spreading faint. Perhaps soul trustworthy, humans err, but mend. Tech abused, but saves. Sometimes world change just dared stand once. Right moment. Elena desk returned. Old notebook opened. First page short line. Prometheus no destruction fire. Guiding light humans rediscover selves. Then smiled. Soft. Faint. 1 year post-global data crisis. New York sky altered. Skyscrapers, less blaze. Lights gentler, subdued. Under big ad screens. Algorithm ethics talked not luxury. Forum, university staple. Wave midst, name quiet, whispered. Prometheus Institute. No promo, no branding. Just timely concise. Reports dispersed. Right exposing finance, health, AI ethics, gaps. Each report mirror world forcing power holders' self-view. None knew Prometheus backers. Some said anonymous hackers, others .gov orgs, no proof. Certain, where deceit, Prometheus appeared. Hudson Edge small room, afternoon light slanting glass framed. Elena, old wood table. Saturday, before. Screen latest reports. News manipulation data. Opinion shaping campaigns under. Numbers. Code lines flickered breath-like. All smooth sans commands. Former colleagues scattered Berlin, Tokyo, Nairobi, Buenos Aires. Prometheus seeds worldwide. Faces unknown. Linked encrypted signals. Amid. Elena silent hub. Known all. Seen none. She rarely spoke. Asked why shadows stay. Just smiled. Appearance mattered not. Light must spread. Source unknown. Night's city slept. Elena balconied. River reflected lights gazed. Water slow. Deep. Myriad blurred images carried like world data flow. She realized soul drowning preventer in info seas. Memory. Not machines. Hearts. One morning, odd data packet, no title. Sender. Opened. Image chain. Young students. Berlin Data Transparency Seminar. Backdrop large screen. Prometheus logo. Not her scent. Not her system. Another continued work. She sat long, silent, then soft laughed. Prometheus escaped grasp, became dreamed free idea. No owner. Unquenchable. Afternoon, river wind low buildings swept. Briny damp carried. She outward stepped. Stone path strolled. Passers unaware gray coat simple woman once data war epicenter world shaking. She blended. Quiet. As non-existent. But namelessness. Found freedom. She paused, child paper plane playing. White sheet wind whirled. Her foot landed. Wings scrawled pencil. Truth always finds its sky. Head up. Vast clear endless sky gazed. That instant, Elena knew journey done. Prometheus, no mission, legacy, no weapon. Fire small, eternal in warmth keeping hands. She walked on, child sheet left wind rolling. Gust carried far, streets, buildings, a dressless unsigned message will of dark risen one. 10 years passed. World changed. Glass towers once cold power reflecting now soft solar panels clad. All big nets mandatory. Ethical layer AI self-check skin. None knew initiator exact, but tech circles called Prometheus effect. Quiet tree shaded New York street. Small center the Echo Foundation. No big sign, flashy logo. Just weathered brown wood door. Inside warm simple space young students learn data transparency. Digital ethics. Wall. Uncaptioned black-white photo woman's screen sat. Light peaceful face washing. None sure who. Just tales foundation layer for Prometheus Institute. World forcing self-reckon. Elena gone. Left city years prior. Silent as net vanish. None knew where. Small clues, old codes. Philosophy notes, system left. Hinted somewhere monitored once saved world. Northern California mountains. Simple wood cabin, forest edge. Lake overlooked. Mornings. Chimney smoke rose. Fog dissolved. Elena lived there. City far. No laptop. Just notebooks. Garden seeds. Small plot. Slow-lived. Relearning human after years nameless signal data world. But evenings sometimes. Old radio tuned. 107.2 frequency weak, near unheard. Static midst. Distant voices occasional. New Nairobi project kids net safety teaching. Berlin students fairer hiring algo developing. Each tale her started fragment. Silent sat, listened, smiled. Prometheus now unquenchable idea language, culture, generations her unknown spread. In spread, Elena found lifelong sought, peace. Fog-thick lake morning, porch stepped, flat water down gazed. Surface, first sun touched, shattered myriad sparkling shards. Reflection, her face aged, same eyes, serene, free. Sat, small notebook opened, final lines penned. I didn't save world, just reminded it once had conscience. Closed, table placed, forest far gazed. Bird song, wind rustle, wave lap all slow symphony merged. That moment, human tech bounds, memory present, seem dissolved. Somewhere global net, old code snippet reactivated sudden. None knew why. Simple interface opened. White ground. Single black line. Sigma EV. System at peace. No alert. Fanfare. Chime. Just quiet signal. Breath-like. Wood cabin within. Elena head lifted. Sensed something occurred. No screen. No radio. Just intuition. Smiled. Faint whispered. Finally, world self-balanced knows. Rose, morning light stepped. Behind left sun flood room. Half-shut notebook. Last page, hand ink undried. The future is not artificial. It's conscious. Some stories end not victory, but stillness. Elena Voss no hero became. No honors, no statues named. But namelessness. World reclaimed vital trust. She reminded justice, no glaring light. Small spark lives by daring keepers lit, hands trembling, outer winds howling. And Prometheus, once unfinished promise project, now symbol self-examining future. Place AI not human replaces, but human remembers, human way. In Elena's world, data stealable, memories erasable, but truth unprogrammable, awaits finding by brave enough listening. Perhaps, somewhere planetary data stream, faint signal echoes, no net belonging, Sigma EV, the echo lives. If you believe truth its own sound holds, share this story. For who knows, one small echo enough awaken world conscience whole.